This is a tier list of all the loading screens on Clash Royale. Loading screen number 1 is Clash Oween. Her loading screen is pretty detailed. There are candles on the bats that are melting. There are cobwebs underneath the fence area. The pumpkin is even shaped like a mini P.E.K.K.A. Overall, I'm going to give this one a B tier. Next, we have the Executioner cooking up some soup. I really do like the contrast of colors, and the soup looks very visually appealing, so I'm gonna also give that one a B tier. Next, we have Bone Pit Arena with the giant skeleton. Overall, not too much detail. It's just the arena with some skeletons and the giant skeleton holding a big old drop in his hand. I'm gonna give this one a C tier. Actually, D tier. Next, we have the Mighty Miner and P.E.K.K.A. King Tower in the background. I like the King Tower, how he's kind of excited. That gets me a little hype. I like the Mighty Miner with all of his glory, holding that drill thing that he's got. Overall, I give this one a C tier. Next up, we have the Shocktober loading screen. So there are a bunch of electric currents running throughout the troops, and they are ultimately shocking the crown. We've got the Ram with his tongue sticking out. We got the Electro Giant doing a little pose. We got the Goblins with their sunglasses on. Overall, I'm going to give this one a A tier. The next loading screen are the three champions, the Golden Knight, Skeleton King, and Archer Queen. I really do like the detail of the Skeleton King having that aura throughout his hand, summoning the skeletons, and how the skeletons also have that aura in the background. I also do really like the attention to detail of adding those goblins and Hog Rider in the background behind the Queen, and behind the Golden Knight adding the Ram, Wizard, and what the Ram rides. I'm going to give this one a B tier. Next up, we got the loading screen for the 5th anniversary of Clash Royale. This screen is pretty basic, but it does have a goblin and the king, and it gets the point across that we're happy to celebrate Clash Royale's 5th anniversary. So overall, I'm going to put this one at C tier. Next up, we have the classic loading screen with all the troops ultimately reaching for that crown. We've got great detail on the goblins with the electric current running through them, produced by the E-Wiz. I'll put this one in B tier. Next, we have the Clash-orama loading screen. I really do like the change of art style. This 2D graphic is very captivating and captures the detail of the barbarian and everything looking up at the 1 health King Tower. Like, what are you guys gonna do against us? It's cool, but it's nothing special. There's not too much going on, but the artwork is really cool. Next up, we have the chess event for Clash Royale. For this event, the loading screen was incredibly cool in my opinion. You have the levitating goblin with the beard. You have all the levitating pieces in the background. The goblin surfing on one of the pieces. The attention to detail in this one is very incredible. I really do like how they incorporated the Clash characters into the chess pieces, and ultimately having that knight overarch and evilly take down the enemy queen chess piece. This one I am going to put in S tier. Next, we have the Valhalla loading screen. This is a really cool loading screen. A lot of attention to detail, where we have the water flowing out of the bowls. We have the Valkyrie holding onto the Cannoneer, and in the back, the Valkyrie statue, I think, is really cool, combined with the tree. And we also have some attention to detail with some smaller statues and a smaller little island in the background. I'm going to put this one in A tier. Next up, we have the 4th anniversary Clash Royale loading screen. So we have all the troops sitting on a big cake, again, reaching for that crown. On top of that, the Ram is licking the icing of the cake off of the P.E.K.K.A. The Goblin laying on that cake is just stuffing his face. Ultimately, I am going to give this one a B tier. Next up is the P.E.K.K.A. Playhouse loading screen. This one doesn't have too much going on. It has a P.E.K.K.A. holding a butterfly in its hand. I do think the attention to detail on the butterfly is very cool, and it does make the butterfly look like, oh, that's like the first thing I'm looking at in the photo. I'm looking at that butterfly in that hand. The lava hounds in the back are pretty cool, and we also have a loon in the background. Overall, I'm going to give this one a C tier. For the next loading screen, we have the Dragon Spa loading screen. We got the Claw of the Dragon coming in and grabbing that crown that the goblins are trying to hold secure with the help of everyone else underneath. We've got the skeletons, the guards, the Ewiz, we got the rascals, the P.E.K.K.A., the knight. Overall, I'm going to put this one in A tier because I really do like the attention to detail and the idea of the dragon's claw coming in from the background and reaching in and grabbing that crown. Next up is the Valentine's Magic Archer loading screen. So we've got a Magic Archer as the spotlight troop here on top of a crown tower, and in the background we have a rainbow and some cool buildings. Overall, I'm going to put this one in C tier because, again, like the P.E.K.K.A. and 5th anniversary loading screen, both of them don't really have too much going on, and I think that's the same case here with this Magic Archer loading screen. Next up, we have the Ghost sitting on some treasure with his legendary chest right beside him. I like the attention of detail of the treasure in the background. We've got the trophies, the chest, all the gems, the coins. I really do like how the front contrasts the colors and the shine/glare of the lighting. The ghost is definitely the first object I look at here, though, because he is nice and glowing. He has that blue aura around him, and the bats surrounding him with those glowing eyes are definitely eye-catching as well. This I'm going to put in A tier. Next up, we have the Frost Festival loading screen. So we got the Lumberjack going crazy in the back. We've got them all surfing with the Ice Golem, the Battle Healer sitting on the Ice Golem's arm. We've got the Goblin on the sled going down, acting a little surprised. Inside of the Ice Cube, we have a King Tower troop, and he's just looking hella sad there. I do like the attention to detail with the lanterns and the fireworks in the background. Oh, I'm just seeing this now, but the goblin actually is losing his trousers. They came off behind the ice was there. And I also like the attention to detail with this ice spirit. Overall, I'm going to put this one in A tier. Next up, we have the Clash from the Past background, where they are using a pixelated style, where the barbarian is pointing towards the witch, where the witch has a fireball in her hand, and she is summoning skeletons from the ground, as well as being surrounded by some bats. I do think that this is a cool, unique art style, but once again, not too much going on here, and that's why it's going to end up in C tier. Next up is the Logmas screen, where we have that same concept of the same troops looking towards that middle icon, which was normally a crown, but this time it's a star, so I do like the change. I do like the change from the loon being a scoreboard to the sock. I do think the sock is pretty funny. Just floated in the background there. We've got the prince this time looking at a present from the barbarian, the goblins getting shocked, and we have the rascals, Ram, P.E.K.K.A., and Knight. I'm going to put this one in B tier because it's pretty cool. It's a cool concept, but nothing extra, additional, or too special going on. Next up, we have the Clash Royale 6th anniversary loading screen. I do like the attention to the fire spirits being kind of launched in the background. Same for the E spirit. The heal spirit is doing more of a hop action. In the front, we have the troops what appear to be celebrating the 6th anniversary, while the king appears giddy with joy, hopping in the air, and the archer holding that 6th balloon. Overall, nothing too special, but what I will do is say this could be the top of C tier. I didn't order any of the other ones in a particular order. I don't think they need to be, but this one specifically could definitely be top of C tier. Next, we have the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Dream loading screen. In the background, there is some syrup being spilt onto the pancakes. We have pancakes launched into the air, and I do like that there is a Mini P.E.K.K.A. pancake statue holding some pancakes. I do think it is a cool concept, and so for the concept and the attention to detail with the syrup, I will put it at B tier. Next up is the original Clash Royale loading screen. We have the goblin in the front leading the charge with the berry and the Skelly King, and we got the king laughing and pointing at the enemy because he knows that they are about to get taken down. This is definitely a classic, and I gotta put it in B tier. For the next, we have the Clash Royale 2023. We have a bat surrounded by a bunch of other bats. I do understand what they were going for with the concept of the bats, but I do not like how blurred that they are. What I do like, though, are the eyes of the bats in the darkness, peeking through the woods. The goblins, we got one where he's kind of looking confused on what's going on, still eating on what he's eating. Another is scared and willing to sort of give up his candy to the bats, and another is sort of shrieking backwards. Because of the bats and the way that they look, the more not so much the bat in the front, but these smaller ones that are flying around, they do not look visually appealing to me. So for that reason, I am going to put it in C tier. Next up, we have the Bewitched loading screen. I do think the concept of the old paper, it is cool, but I do not think it works for this. I do think it would need to be more of like an old kind of scroll type thing with, I don't know what troops and theme that they would use, but I do think if they went with this kind of this crumpled paper style, that it would have had to been a different theme and different troop entirely, because this loading screen would have looked really clean if they decided to just amp up the quality of it instead of making it a lower quality on a shriveled up piece of paper. So we've got the skeletons looking at the building here, and they are massive. We got a tiny little lumberjack, and we've got the massive witch overarching everything, bats surrounding her. I do like that they incorporated the bats surrounding her with this one. Kind of shows off the size of the witch and how massive she really is. I'm going to give this one a C tier, but only because they went with this crumpled paper style. Next up is the Screen the Heist loading screen. So all the troops are jumping for that crown, that same similar concept, but we are doing it in a different fashion in this one. They're kind of magic archers included, the bandits in this one. The goblins are not getting electrocuted this time. We've got a firecracker instead of a ram up here. The firecracker's looking to just shoot its firecracker at it. And a clothesline with the socks and the trousers there. I will put this one in B tier. Next up is the Bootcamp loading screen. I really do like this loading screen. We got the wizard kind of like freaking out because of what's going on the bottom there. And we've got on top the loon dropping its drop onto the training dummy, and a goblin is being launched into the frame with an explosion. The barbarian and archer seem to be kind of racing towards that training dummy, while the goblin is just barely struggling to hang on. His pants seem to be almost falling down there, and I'm going to put this one in B tier. Next is the evolution loading screens. In this loading screen, we have the Evo Barb, Evo Firecracker, and Evo Royal Giant. And the Evo Skelly I'm seeing, so they added him more so in the background. And we've got the Barbarians on stage as well in the background, and their shock is kind of amplifying the effect of the troops in front and that skeleton. I do like the attention to detail with the confetti and those lights in the background of the concert. I think they are very cool. I also like the fire effect coming from behind the barbarians. This one I will put in C. Now it's B tier, but it's better than the champions, the 3 champions, because I like the attention to detail with the stadium in the background and whatnot. This one has very good attention to detail with the skeletons, but this one I think just has a bit more that I'll have to put it over for. Next up is the Clan Wars 2 loading screen. So they really did throw a lot of attention into detail on this, with a kind of fire side on the right and an ice side on the left in the backgrounds. We've got the king pointing off into the distance, setting the sail for what the journey holds next. The princess is looking out into the distance, probably pondering about what the Clash team will do next. And we've got this middle fixture where the boats are sort of heading to, and I believe the Colosseum is that structure. There's also some water pouring out the trophies. I really like that attention to detail. Because of the attention to detail, I'm going to put this one in B. There's not too much going on, but there is a lot of attention to detail. Next up is the Clashmas 2 loading screen. I really like the attention to detail with the lights being hung on the houses and the stairways and all the trees. I think that honestly makes the photo. I can only picture what this photo would look like without those lights, and I think it would look significantly worse. Like literally we're talking like dropping from A tier to B tier. Overall, I'm going to put this one at A tier. We have a lot going on with the hog and the sleigh and the presents falling out of the sleigh, the archer in the front looking at the present, the barbarian holding a mini barbarian, and the troops giddy with joy in the background. And not only that, but there's an audience in the Colosseum. So next up, we have the first loading evolution screen, so it's pretty boring compared to the other one that we viewed. We'll put it at C tier. Next up, we have the Goblin Birthday Party Celebration. We have the Gob Giant with the 2 Spear Gobs in his back pouch. We've got the Gob Cage with the Jukebox. We've got the Dark Gob in the front with the other Gobs, and they're just looking ready to celebrate. We've got the King looking kind of frustrated that he's stuck where he is. I'm going to put this one at B tier. Next is the Jungle Rumble loading screen. I do like the concept and theme of this loading screen and how the troops are kind of like wilderness explorers here with their little hats, and their knights seems excited to be finding their destination, their fruit. The goblin seems to be staring back in the distance as if he sees something almost, and the barbarian, he just might not want to be there right now. I do like the attention to detail with the butterflies and the vines in this loading screen, so I will put this one at B tier. Next up is this boring Little Prince loading screen. It's going literally D tier. It's just the Guardian holding the Little Prince. For the final loading screen, we have the Naughty or Nice PNG. Why did I say that? For the final loading screen, we have the Naughty or Nice loading screen with the Evo Ice Spirit. The Evo Ice Spirits in the front are looking absolutely diabolical, freezing everything in the back in little presents, and seem kind of happy that they've done so. The hog looks kind of surprised, the bandit looks cold, the goblin's facial expression is pretty funny, the lumberjack is looking hella chill, and the rascals seem a little worried that they're frozen. The giant skeleton, though, is funny. He's got his hands up and everything. I like the attention to detail with the frozen loon being launched through the sky with the trails. Same thing for the ice spirits. I like their trails. This I'm going to put in A tier. I like the facial expressions of the troops, and I enjoy everything that's kind of going on in this one. This photo, I don't know where it is in my file, so we're just skipping this one. Now we're going to make any final changes that we want to make to the tier list, and I believe that we're going to take this Clash Miss one and bring it up to S. This is more of like a lower A tier. I'm not putting them in order, but I think the rest of the tier list is looking pretty good. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you guys want to see more tier lists like this, definitely click that like button and let me know in the comments. I'll catch you all in the next video.